Hello everyone, my name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, the dust has settled in terms of the Summer League. It's been over for a while now. And my question is, what is to make of our rookie that we picked 12th overall in the NBA draft in Noa Essengue? Is he going to be a player that can make a real impact in terms of the main team of the Chicago Bulls? Or are we going to follow a very similar routine that we have done with many of the players in the past? And that will be a very much time building exercise, if anything, for Noa Essengue to make the main team and to stay in the main team. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know what you guys think about Noa Essengue. Now, when I watched him in the Summer League, I think a lot of people were expecting someone that was just going to be unbelievably, heads and shoulders above the rest. And I don't necessarily think we saw that, but what we saw was a player that could do a little bit of everything, was able to shoot the ball fairly well, played solid defense, was able to rebound, showed and used his size effectively, and ultimately, in my opinion, had a good Summer League. A Summer League ruined by one meme, but nevertheless, a good Summer League overall. And I think a young player like that, it needs to be recognized how good of a Summer League he did have. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, is this enough to kind of get him to the main team? I want to talk about previously what I said about Noa Essengue, where I see his destination being for a lot of the season. And I did say this when we selected him. He's going to be a prospect player, a project player, a player that we work on, we try to develop, and we try to get him to his absolute best, hopefully as quick as possible. And a lot of that will probably be in the G League. He's going to be playing with the Windy City Bulls. He's going to get time in the Windy City, playing hopefully as a kind of that star sort of guy, getting his numbers, showing what he's all about defensively, and just growing and maturing as a player. And then over time, he can show that he's good enough and better, good enough quality to be above the G League, and he can make his way to the Chicago Bulls main team and produce from there. Maybe off the bench, eventually could be into a starting role. That's what I talked about previously with Noa Essengue. Has my mind really changed on that standpoint? Well, let me start with this. I think Noa Essengue showed in the Summer League that he could be good enough to be a rotational piece for the Chicago Bulls next season. Now, that doesn't mean I think he's going to start there, but I think that's where he's good enough at the moment. When I look at what he's able to do and the length that he's able to play at 6'10" in a small forward position, he's a unique prospect and he's a unique talent that we don't necessarily have in that small forward position. The small forwards that we do have are Patrick Williams, who played most of his years in the power forward position. Guys like Kevin Huerter and Isaac Okoro, a bit undersized for those forward positions and mainly known as guards more than anything, but still are probably going to be fighting for that position. Guys like Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry, who are good rotational pieces themselves, but ultimately will not really make a claim for the starting spot. I think Noa Essengue has uniqueness compared to all of those guys. Unfortunately, though, I do see him as a rotational piece. I still think a lot of what I said previously is going to stand here and that he is going to start his season in the G League. Unless training camp comes around, the preseason comes around, and he shows amazing chemistry with this group at the very beginning, I do see him spending time in the G League, which is exactly what we did with Matas Buzelis. The only real thing with Matas Buzelis is he showed really quick, and I mean really quick, he was too good for the G League. And ultimately, that's what got him into the Chicago Bulls rotation, and that's what got him eventually to the starting lineup, and that's where I see him staying for many, many years to come. I see him truly as a starter in this league from now on. Noa Essengue, he might have a very similar rise. He might start in the G League and he might be too good for the G League, and then he comes in as a rotational piece, and from there he'll have to fight his way to the starting lineup. Who really knows how that's going to plan out? Or it could be a patience project, because Buzelis, when he came in almost as a ready now player. I mean, Matas Buzelis, I don't consider a project player. He came in, was considered a top 5 draft pick for a lot of the time. He was, scouted, and for whatever reason, fell to the 11th pick for the Chicago Bulls. He fell all the way down, and the Bulls made an easy choice. Noa Essengue is someone that is a project player, someone that we're going to have to work on. So maybe his rise and showing how talented he is in the G League will take a little bit longer. And that's okay. That is completely fine. The beautiful thing about project players is there's patience involved. When you get a ready now player, you expect him to come in and make an impact straight away. If we had Cooper Flag and we sent him into the G League, for example, everybody would be outraged. Everybody would be outraged. There'd be pitchforks for the Chicago Bulls ownership if that was going to be the case. But with Noa Essengue, he's not a Cooper Flag. He is a project player that we haven't seen much of at the professional level, even though he is a pro player, but not many people have seen him at the professional level. And all we really know from him is what we know in the summer league. It could take more time, and that is completely fine. Maybe it takes him a little bit longer to show he's good enough, but I do think he's going to show it. And that's the beautiful thing. I think he's going to show he's good enough. And it's not going to be at the superstar level that Matas Buzelis is. I don't think he's going to come out and drop 20 and 10 every single night in the G League and he's going to dominate, drop 30 points and just be the guy like Matas Buzelis would be. But I think he's going to show it in terms of overall stats. There could be stats out there, ladies and gentlemen, where he gets a 10 point, 10 rebound, 3 block night. That's where I see him showing he's good enough because he's doing it offensively, making shots, doing his thing. It could be defensively, grabbing boards, being a rim protector, blocking shots. It could be steals. It could be switching 1 through 5. This is where I see him showing he's good enough to be in the Chicago Bulls team, and then that's where I see him making the rotation. I don't actually see him being a starter for the Chicago Bulls this season. I do think we have enough in that small forward position to make the case that he would be a starter very difficult. I think Isaac Okoro will show he's a good enough quality player to be a starter. Kevin Huerter as a kind of a specialty, a need in that position, could show he's good enough to be a starter. Patrick Williams is making so much money, you would expect him to try to fight to be a starter alongside of Matas Buzelis. Julian Phillips is a good rotational piece that has been here longer. He could show that he's good enough to fight for a position. Dalen Terry is in a must-perform now situation if he wants a future here with the Chicago Bulls. He's going to be fighting for a spot to show that he belongs. So there's too many conversations, in my opinion, to throw Noa Essengue as a starter for the Chicago Bulls. But I think he'll follow a similar route to Matas Buzelis. I think it'll take a little bit longer, but I think in a different way, he'll show that he's ready. And in a few seasons' time, I think you could see the best out of Noa Essengue. And it starts now, and it starts here. This is the beautiful side about young players. The journey for them starts right now, and I'm excited for him. And hopefully he could get the job done. But do you guys agree? Do you see him falling right back into the starting lineup as soon as he comes in? You know, some 12th overall picks are natural starters. It is what it is. Some 12 overall picks fall right into the starting lineup. Not many 12th overall picks these days go into the G League, although that rate is actually increasing every year because, I mean, the league is more talented than ever. So maybe this is the right direction that we go down. What do you think? Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.